My name is Charlotte Whitmore. I am a program manager at Atlassian based out of San Francisco. I am part of a team called Craft Education. My current responsibilities within that team cover a lot of onboarding and learning type events. So I run our grad onboarding program, which is now up to 100 plus grads in 3 geos every year. I also do our internal conferences focused for R&D, so engineering, product management, and customer experience. And I'm also working on some new initiatives around revamping engineering onboarding and some other types of engineering optimization learning opportunities. I have to be honest, when I first went through some of the materials, I was very skeptical about whether it would really be applicable for me. Or if it would feel a little bit too jargony or just a little bit too focused on strict L&D, which is not really what I do. I would not describe myself as a learning professional. I'm much more in the program management, connecting, getting the goals together side of things. But when we actually started the workshop, it was really, really helpful. It took both myself and my colleague Maddie, because we were working together on what was going to become our learning cluster. It took us both a little while to fully kind of get on board and realize how we could be using these things. But once we really got into completing the tools and templates, it became a lot easier and led us to some really great new considerations for the programs we work on. As far as aha moments that we had while we were doing this, honestly, one of the biggest things is the developing of learner personas. At Atlassian, the people who use personas are mainly folks within the design function. It's something that I knew about, but had never really considered before. And so when we were going through that process, it really helped us kind of crystallize, oh, these are the types of people that we're doing these things for and who are really into it and who maybe need a little bit more convincing to really get on board, instead of just kind of thinking about, well, this is for engineers, this is for product managers, this is for grads, thinking more about those kind of personality and role types. So that was really, really helpful. And quite frankly, just the idea of a cluster and going through that upgrade action and debating your other types of actions was just a really great way to brainstorm and bring a lot of things together for us that had been a little bit more disparate. Yeah, so as far as our continued work with the learning cluster design approach, our manager, Ray, who is the head of our craft education function, he has made all of those materials a part of onboarding for any new teammates who come into our team. So anybody who joins is going to get at least the basic grounding in it. And we actually we do monthly internal team training sessions, which is usually folks within our team or other people in Atlassian coming in. And we just had one yesterday where myself, Ray, and Maddie and Eve were talking through what we got out of the workshop and what it really was, and sharing some of the materials from it. So it's something that our team is very aware of. Yeah, it resonated really well. The rest of our team are folks who are in more of a coaching function. So they're not necessarily in learning design, but a lot of them are familiar with models similar to this, design thinking and consultancy work. So it's something that really resonated, and we got very positive feedback about it. Sure. So we feel like we ended up with a pretty actionable cluster that will be part of a larger kind of reimagining project. What we ended up doing, because we had this very different type of problem and program that we're looking at, which is around these events, which are learning focused, but also obviously have a lot of other consideration around logistics and social stuff and all of that. And we were also thinking about how much do these things connect, or do we really have to customize per program? And what we realized and worked on is we created this kind of higher level template cluster in a way of all the different things that we think are important considerations and features to a successful event. And the idea would be that as we look at any individual program, we start with that template, and then we edit or add in things that are going to be more specific to that audience. So it's been working really well. We're going to be doing a larger kind of events planning and reimagining. So this will feed into that as well. Yeah, I mean, the idea for our team, at least, is everyone's going to come in and get the familiarity of this, because the idea will be that whenever we're starting something new that is learning focused, it will run through these actions and run through this process. So the future really looks like more use of it, I would say. So let's see, if the world, if LCD model was incredibly widespread adoption, I think the main effect that would have is creating a lot more focused time and intentionality, and really taking the time to actually fully investigate what you're doing and why and who you're doing it for, so that by the time you're actually working on it, you have a lot of confidence in what you're doing and you are pretty sure you won't have to roll back. Because I think that's something that people want to do, and generally folks are always on paper in favor of that, but then it always seems to come down to, this is the deadline and we just have to get it done, and we'll compromise a little bit on some stuff and we'll get that done out later, which is, it creates kind of a continued debt cycle because you don't have anything that's coming out in its best form, and then you need to fix, you have the things you want to fix, and then people are finding bugs that you need to fix, and it just kind of snowballs. So that's what I think would be the major benefit, along with, in general, having this common language, right? So it's really easy to understand what someone else is doing. If you don't understand the subject matter, you at least understand where they are in the process. Yeah, I think I would definitely recommend the workshop to others. We've already done that within our team, so we may see some folks there signing up. I would just say that the opportunity to learn is very important, and you will discover when you start to make time for yourself and actually engage in some of these activities, how much it pays you back. So I would highly recommend making a plan, figuring out how you're going to balance that time, working with your leadership to ensure that it's protected. And if you're trying to create that same space for others, try to model the best practices that you can come up with.